Welcome to Lot 76 Cars. It would really help me if you'd click on like, share and subscribe, and click the bell icon for notifications of more content from the channel. Thanks for watching.
A new concept in responsive motoring from Mercedes Benz. New levels of driving exhilaration and satisfaction, obtained by no other car of similar size and weight. 190 and fuel-injected 190E. Unique rear suspension, the multi-link system. Aerodynamic drag coefficient, the lowest. The new Mercedes 190 series.
I'm not sure if it was the period advertising or the fact that when this car was made I was driving a lowly Sierra 1.8 GL, but I'd always kind of hankered after a Mercedes 190 W201 series. I think it was the styling and the fact it was the best that Mercedes had to offer, but shrunk down into a small compact sedan. That's probably what did it. Here's the story of my first 9 months in a Baby Benz. Buying a modern classic Mercedes in the midst of a UK lockdown, when you can't actually view the car, wasn't actually the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. Buying the car completely blind, I only had the MOT history and the comments on the online advertisement for guidance. I could see that the vehicle had got a low number of owners and apparently a reasonable level of service history, but otherwise I was buying completely blind. Let's see how it goes.
And lot 76 coming through now is the Mercedes 190. I think it's the third one of these. We've got 1990, this one. Right, there's no reserve on it, but I've got commission. I'm going to start it off at £3,000. 3,000 I've got, 350, 35, 37.50 with me. With me at 37.50 commission, 37.50 bid, commission bid at 37.54 if you want it. 37.50 bid, hammers up. 37.50 bid, gonna sell it on commission at 37.50. Are we done? £3,750. Last chance. All done. It sells at 4,000. My commission's out. £4,000 on the net now at £4,000.
With the UK lockdown still in force, I couldn't actually collect my vehicle. I had to have it transported to me. So this is the first time I saw my purchase. A 1990 G registration Mercedes 190E in Ascot Grey, Lot 76, and the name of my channel. So, exactly what had I bought? What was my blind Mercedes purchase like? Well, thankfully, by good luck rather than judgment, the vehicle was pretty solid. The usual weak points and points to note out for that I detailed in my buying video, in actual fact, were pretty good. The vehicle would of course benefit from a good polish and some small upgrades, but it was perfectly serviceable and usable from day one. One pleasant surprise was the box file full of history going right the way back to the first owner, showing in actual fact even the original purchase invoice and a price list where the options for this vehicle have been annotated, and even the original brochure. This was a real surprise. I'm very pleased to find it. Like any vehicle, you always discover some features and idiosyncrasies, and this particular one is no different. Being able to move the bonnet to a 90-degree angle to access the engine is a really handy feature, and it's such a shame other OEMs didn't copy this. Into other owners is a source of useful information. Here you can see the single mono wiper, which I was a little bit reticent to take apart because of the fragility of the plastic, but it can actually be lubricated from 2 hidden holes underneath the mechanism itself. Really useful. Again, thankfully, a trip to the experts revealed that the vehicle was, again, as I thought, in reasonably good order. Apart from some servicing and unfortunately the replacement of a fuel pump which failed during testing, the vehicle was in actual fact in really good order. There were of course some minor repairs to do. As you can see here, the weeping rocker gasket wasn't necessarily urgent, but I decided to take the opportunity to do this while the vehicle was in with the repairer. Of course, there's lots of jobs cosmetically that you can do at home to improve your 190, and in this case some of the side cladding panels were a little bit loose where the clips had actually failed. I took the opportunity to remove the panels and clean behind them, and again it proved to be pretty clean and rust free, but with the purchase of some new plastic clips from Mercedes Benz I was able to reattach them successfully and improve the fit. Of course, after removing and then refitting your first panel, clearly over time you become a bit more expert and break less clips. I wanted to go a bit further after the initial cleaning, and the only way to do this really was to remove the seats. Thankfully held in by 4 10mm bolts, this was really easy, and there were no wires to disconnect in terms of things like airbags. One very easy repair that I'd seen online was the replacement of the netting at the rear of the seats. This was a particularly easy repair to do, and in fact the hardest part was actually taking the seats out. I've got a separate video, and if you click on the card up in the top right hand corner you can actually see how I actually repaired them. As you'll be able to see here, on the driver's side seat, the after, and on the passenger side seat the before, I hope you'll agree it was a huge improvement, and the cost was just a few pounds and a little bit of time of course. The underbonnet was in really good condition, even with traces of the original wax. However, the hood pad had long since disintegrated and the bonnet had become quite dirty, so it benefited from a good clean from Built Hamber Surface HD, but not diluted. In actual fact, I've got a separate video showing how I sourced and repaired this hood pad, and as you can see, actually from a very low cost, I believe this has had a really good impact in terms of how the bonnet looks underneath, and hopefully maybe some small benefits in terms of sound deadening. I don't know. The Becker Europa stereo was an unbelievably priced option from the factory, in fact over £700. In actual fact, unfortunately it kept blowing fuses, and given that it was cassette only and no Bluetooth, I felt that it was worthy of an upgrade. I did want something that would enable me to leave the original wiring and just use an adapter. After some research I managed to find a suitable adapter online on Amazon and selected a Continental Bluetooth unit, which is sort of period looking but normally fitted to trucks or buses, but I felt would fit with the car. Parts supply from the authorised dealers is actually staggeringly quite good, and most parts are available within 3 days. However, for those parts that aren't available, like wing mirrors, you can buy some alternatives, but have a look at this that I purchased from another supplier. It actually doesn't fit properly and doesn't allow me to adjust the mirror for my viewing position. Some other upgrades are low cost and really easy to do, such as actually replacing the number plate light bulbs, and you can see here the difference that makes, and also actually replacing the number plates, which were really looking very tatty. One small annoyance was the fuel gauge roulette I'd had to play. The fuel gauge sender unit was faulty. A replacement unit from Mercedes is around £220. Thankfully I found one for a quarter of that was used, and the only remaining thing to do was to find a suitably sized 46mm socket, and the job was done. This is a 31-year-old car, so sometimes things go wrong, but it pays not to panic. In actual fact, what you see here is a very small fracture in the crankcase breather pipe, which is allowing very tiny traces of oil to drip round and in actual fact burn on the hot exhaust. The reality is it was relatively quick to fix, and the parts themselves, the pipes, were just £18.95, available from Mercedes in 3 days. Panic over. And now finally comes the time to actually do some driving. Driving the vehicle locally revealed that, particularly because of its size, it's really good around town, easy to park, very easy to navigate through traffic. But to be honest with you, where this vehicle absolutely excels and was a real surprise is when you take it out on the open road, particularly on the highway. It can maintain highway speeds all day, it's relatively quiet even compared with more modern vehicles, and in actual fact I found the vehicle comfortable. Its 31-year-old seats, which probably started out as particularly hard in the Germanic way, in actual fact have given a bit over time, and I actually found them quite comfortable. Having done several long journeys on the highway, I've actually found the vehicle to be as comfortable as a modern vehicle. Maybe it's just me, but I really get a kick out of seeing the Mercedes three-pointed star at the end of the bonnet. Sadly, something that's been missing from Mercedes for a number of years now due to pedestrian safety rules, but still very missed. Fuel economy is actually quite good as well. You'd see a typically 36 miles per gallon, which is just under 7.9 litres per 100 kilometres, which I think for a car of this age is pretty good at constant high-speed running. After a light recommissioning and local use, I then built up a sense of trust in the car that I'd be happy to take it on some longer journeys, in some cases of several 100-mile round trips. One of the first of these was a trip to the Mercedes Benz Club W201 and W202 Owners Day up in the Midlands, where the opportunity to meet other owners and see quite an eclectic collection of similar vehicles. As well as meeting other 190 owners, I've also had the opportunity to feature the car on the Lloyd Vehicle Consulting channel. Check his channel out for some great reviews, including one of my own W201 190 Mercedes. Of course, with cars of this stage, there are always things to do. I'll need to replace the front offside headlamp. I have a new unit available for this, and in actual fact some small issues like just tidying up the battery tray. It's got some surface rust, it looks worse than it is, but that's a job for winter. What I must point out is the help I've had from the official Mercedes Benz Club. The experts there have been really helpful, and it's certainly well worth the £41 per year subscription. In addition to this, I've also had the opportunity to contact some of the online forums. The 190e forum is a really good source of encouragement and support for the things that you want to do with the car. And finally, one thing I would like to point out is another YouTube channel. So this particular YouTube channel has featured up until now exclusively the Mercedes 190. And Unique Projects have really helped me, and a number of the jobs he's undertaken on the car has encouraged me to do the same myself. Thanks to him. Please check out his channel, it's got some really good content. So finally, as this vehicle's not my daily driver, I've decided to take it off the road for the worst of winter. Hopefully we'll be back soon next year with some more W201 Mercedes 190 content. Please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching.